Personally, I love me some fighting game Twitter. So if someone complaining about something, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes it's a matter of opinion. But I think one of the funniest ones I've seen recently is the fact that people are saying Marvel doesn't have neutral. And to me, it's kind of hilarious because I think Marvel has some of the best neutral of any fighting game. It just doesn't really look the same as a lot of traditional fighting games. I mean, it makes sense. Marvel has some really oppressive characters, some absurd supers, and honestly, it's kind of imbalanced. Because of the assisting, because of how many characters are on screen and different projectiles and swords, it'd be really hard to differentiate kind of what these high level players are doing. To look at some of these high level sets, especially like EVO 2023 this past year, I feel like that's one of the biggest ones where people were like, oh, 0-0, it's a really boring match, it's hard to watch. When in actuality, Jabril and Evasion had an amazing set, and it just looks really bad because of how the set played out. But if we actually like kind of break down that set, 0-0 is extremely difficult. And a lot of it comes down to really good movement, really trying to trick your opponent, and who can hold their buster just a little bit longer and who can like let it go at the right time. From a gameplay perspective, it's one of the most fun matchups in the game for me. The only downside, I think, this is where Marvel really starts to like kind of lose its edge a little bit. Being able to kill off of any touch and then put them into a ridiculous mix-up after is kind of brutal. And that's kind of where like Zero becomes really, really strong. If any touch hits you and you go into a mix-up, yeah, the game's not really that fun and the games can be over like super fast. But I think honestly, some of like the best Marvel that you can watch is like Chris G versus Champ. Honestly, anything KBR related, because he makes Hulk work in a game that Hulk should not be working in. And honestly, anything with Ray, Escalante, there's all these top players that have phenomenal neutral. But like I said, it just looks a little bit different. It's movement based. It's not being in a bad spot. It's calling your assists correctly. Assists really get a bad rap because people are like, oh, just call log trap, just call jam session, just call doom missiles. You really can't mess it up. In actuality, you really can mess it up quite often. Startup for assists is brutally long. And on top of that, they take way more damage too. I've seen games be lost because they call an assist. You get a happy birthday, something happens, the whole game plan is shut down. And there's other times where you can't even call an assist because your assist has been hurt. It's been hit too many times. There's a lot of like counter calling assists. You'll hear Doom missiles off screen and then you'll call your assist to stop the Doom missiles. So only a couple come out. You can hear Doom beam and call a faster assist to stop it. Zero's release Buster whenever they hear an assist call. People like Champ got insanely good at punishing Vajra, which is Strider's kind of main assist and for a long time was a neutral skip. But nowadays, definitely not a neutral skip and definitely a really hard assist to call correctly and to actually cover it. I think that's where that neutral gets lost. A lot of it is covering your assist for your assist to cover you to set up an opening. And honestly, one of the best players to do this is actually Inside, aka Unknown. He uses the Wesker Sentinel shell and he is so fast. He's able to be so oppressive, put you in multiple mix-ups, set up a command grab, and being able to land a command grab in Marvel is insane. And I do think though, and this is where it gets a little fuzzy, is there are some really interesting buttons in Marvel 3. And I think those can kind of dilute the pool a little bit of what neutral is. I think some of the big ones are Zero Buster. Zero Buster is by far and away one of the best moves in the game, if not the best move in the game. Zero Pizza Cutter, obviously swords, Astral Vision, Hulk H. As much as I love saying KBR is a neutral god, Hulk H is pretty oppressive, especially at lower levels. So a lot of these buttons really just kind of like negate some of the neutral, but they also have really good options against them. But it's funny because all these moves are so strong, but at the same time, because you have so much space to move around and everyone is so fast, you can actually kind of bait some of these moves, and there's a lot of counterplay. And there's a lot of ways to force your opponent into an awkward situation. Yeah, I think honestly, Marvel is some of the best neutral I've ever seen. It may be one of the most fun neutrals to watch as you start to get better at looking at what's happening. And yeah, I can't wait for 10 more years of Marvel. If you want to see some of my favorite matches, I think Moon's Ray is arguably the best match for footsies. It is two training partners that have learned everything about each other. They're just rock solid. It's probably one of my favorite matches. I actually did a breakdown on my main channel about that. which I'll put in the link. Yeah, if you want to see more of this content, let me know. Trying something new, doing a low effort editing kind of side gig, and just talking about random things that come up to mind. If you want to hear my opinions on anything else, just let me know in the comments below. Until next time.